So before taking this class, I really had no understanding of what a freshman seminar was, or really like what the point of it was. So I decided to do some research, and I found that it's just a class like with all freshmen, and the teacher pretty much gets to decide what they would like the class to be on, as long as it meets the criteria that the school has set for the class of certain like needs it needs to meet. So like I remember when I was going to sign up for them, like there was like a bunch of different ones. It was like the history of graffiti. I remember there's one about like rocks. I have one that was called Young Americans. I have a friend now, and she's in one about Dr. Seuss, and then I came across this one called American Identities, and I thought that sounded really interesting for me to kind of get to learn about like myself as an American, like just what it sounds like, American identity, and like see where I fit into this like huge country, and like what I support of it, and like kind of dig deeper and like what is, I guess, what the last book we just kind of read about, the soul of America. So my name is Gabriela Lancaster, and this is my final project for my freshman seminar UCO class. So what are some characteristics that make up America? I have a huge list. This definitely is not all of the words, but this is just a lot. So I have freedom. It's one of the rights that we are supposed to have as American citizens. Oppression, diversity. America is very diverse. You hear the term melting pot. Global citizen, equality. That's another kind of right that we're supposed to have as Americans. Democracy, presidents, immigrants. World War II, capitalism. That's a huge thing in today's society, not just in America, but all over the entire world. Opportunity is another, that's the reason why people come to America, is because they think that they'll have huge opportunities here. World War I, Martin Luther King, feminism. We watched a video in class on feminism, and that really grabbed my attention because I didn't really think about it as being such an American characteristic, but I guess it really is, and like women here really advocate for feminine rights. The Great Depression, exploitation, George Washington, grit. That's another piece of a book that we read this year also that I'm going to talk about later, and the American Dream. So these just were some things, especially after taking this class, I felt like these things kind of make up America. They're like kind of engraved in the soul of America. These obviously, like I said, are not all the words. There's so many more, but these are just some that were important to me and that like stood out after finishing this course. So the first book this year that we read was called Grit, and it was written by Angela Duckworth, and pretty much it was this idea that she had that the more grittiness you had, the farther you could get in life. Like, I guess grittiness was like how much you were willing to put in, like how much effort you were willing to put in, like how hard were you willing to try, like just what it sounds like, grit. Like you have to have grit to like get through in life. And I remember we took a like assessment where you kind of added up your numbers at the end, and that showed you your grittiness score. And I thought that was really cool because it kind of showed, like who was going to work really hard to get what they want in life. And I think in America, that's what you have to do. Like you have, like now it's becoming really hard to get jobs, and it's really competitive. So you have to have grit from a young age, from in school, like working to get good grades. If you play sport, you have to have grit to be the best in your sport. You have to have grit to be at the top of your class. When applying for jobs, you have to be gritty. Like that's a huge asset to have. So the second book that we read was Identity, the Demand for Dignity and the Politics of Resentment by Francis Fukuyama. I really enjoyed reading this book a lot. Also, the project that went along with it, I didn't do as well as I guess I thought I did a lot better, but I still enjoyed doing this project, and it was like I thought I put in like the most effort on it because I got to talk about like things that I thought mattered and that needed to be changed. And like kind of it was very personal because you were asked like what is a liberal democracy and what is going on in America right now that is stopping that from happening. So I think the two things I said were inequality and capitalism, I want to say, because inequality, I stated that on my characteristics and my list of words, that equality was one of the things that Americans are supposed to be ensured, but however, right now that's just not the case, that not all are treated equally, different races are treated differently, genders are treated differently, you're treated differently by how you look, how you, just anything that people can judge you off of, and that's something that needs to be changed. So that's what I wrote about in my paper, and I really enjoyed that project because, I don't know, I kind of got to voice my own opinion. It was kind of like a free write thing, I felt. But also the project I forgot to mention for the book that went along with Grit, it was like you picked a song that you kind of thought went with a characteristic. Like we had a list of characteristics that described America, so it was like materialism, respect, things like that. And that was another thing. I like picked one of my favorite songs, and it made the project a lot very like easy because it was a song that I loved, and like it was easy to relate it to my project because I like to share that song with people, and it has a really good meaning, and I just thought it went perfectly, and I liked that project a lot as well. And then last, this is The Soul of America. I did not think I was going to like this book at all, but I like forced myself to push through and read it because of my grittiness, and I actually really enjoyed it a lot. It kind of just gave the foundation, I guess, of America, like the history. I thought it was really interesting because I have a hard time with history, so that's why I did not think I was going to like it, but actually was easy to follow. It did give very like good information. So yeah. So what could America lose? After reading all three books and like after discussions in class, I came to the conclusion that just a couple of the things America could go without is discrimination, inequality, capitalism, racism, and oppression. And I have a couple of political cartoons here that kind of represent each of these things. So basically here is inequality. They're telling the woman that she works the same job, but she's going to get paid less. And then here's capitalism, and it's a very rich man and someone who's poor, and they're still kind of blaming it on the poor man. And then here's another thing, racism. So all of these things, they definitely do harm society. Like they put us in a bubble away from everyone else when you discriminate and when you're racist and when you oppress other people, and if you're a capitalist or if you're treating people unequal, like it puts you in this bubble that's like not actually reality. And it's like breaking us apart. It's breaking apart Americans when we need to be there for each other, especially because there's a lot of things like going on, not just in America, but all over the world, and you need to stick together, and we can't do that when we're discriminating against one another and people aren't being treated equally just because their color or their race or their age or whatever. And then capitalists, they have so much power that is just not even fair. And racism kind of goes with my whole discrimination and inequality. Like how, because someone's different than you or a different color, whatever, are you going to treat them differently? And oppression, the actions on, like if you're racist, people take action upon that. And it's really sad to see, like, you see all these things about police brutality, like in schools, teachers treating students different. It just needs to end, and these are all things that America 100% could lose and would be such a better place without. So after this class, what I learned, I've learned that there's so much more to being an American than just being born here or being a citizen here. I've learned that American identity, it's kind of whatever I think it should be, and to me, because of my own opinions from before, and especially after this class, I think that it means not just an American citizen, but a global citizen. And not just a global citizen, but one who considers every person, every state, every country, every continent, just everywhere, and everyone that they are affecting, and having respect for others and for where they live, and for treat others equally and don't discriminate. I think that it means being open to new ideas and changes in any given situation, and having grit and the determination to go after your dreams. I can go on and on about what this class has taught me, and about what on what my idea of an American identity is, but I want everyone who's listening to this to think about what that means to them, because it definitely is something personal. And like I said, before taking this class, I did not know what it was going to entail or what it was going to be like. I chose it off the title because I wanted to learn more about my American identity, and I feel as if I found that from doing all of these projects and reading all of the books. Like, I feel like I know, like, I could speak on a lot of things in our country that are good and that are bad, and I know where I stand in all of those. So that was my presentation, and I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you.